Welcome back again to our YouTube channel, my friend. We are now in the fourth part of economic ideas, which is socialism. So what is socialism? It's an economic and political philosophy encompassing diverse economic and social systems characterized by social ownership of the means of production, as opposed to private ownership. It describes the economic, political, and social theories and movements associated with the implementation of such systems. Social ownership can take various forms, including public, community, collective, cooperative, or employee. Traditionally, socialism is on the left wing of the political spectrum. Types of socialism vary based on the role of markets and planning in resource allocations and structure of management in organizations. So, to clarify, because there is socialism in communist country, there's also socialism in capitalist country. You know that? So, I will make here we can say a little explanation. Socialism evolved from capitalist system. So from capitalist system, nowadays it goes to socialism. That's why we call it as mixed market economy. And in capitalistic and socialist this part, they have we can say this secularism. They don't bother about what religion you have. You have the freedom of religion. Now, in a communist country, they apply socialism. As I've said, there's no pure communism nowadays until now. So they are still in the communist state because there's a leader. So in communism, no leader. There is still a state. So in communism, no state, stateless. There's still classes, there's differentiation. So in pure communism, no, it's a classless society. So they are still in the socialist stage this time. So what's the difference, the socialism in capitalist and socialism in communist? What I feel is the only difference is religion. So when capitalism applies socialism, there's a freedom of religion. But the communistic part, communist countries, they apply socialism, suppressing religion. Okay. So which I already make a comparison between capitalist and communist. So other definition of socialism. So socialism describes a variety of economic systems under which the means of productions are owned equally to everyone in society. This is the from communistic point of view. So in some socialist economies, the democratically elected government owns and controls major businesses and industries. In other socialist economies, production is controlled by workers' cooperatives. So in a few others, individual ownership of enterprise and property is allowed, but with high taxes and government control. So from the socialism from communist perspective, it's from each according to his ability to each according to his contribution. This means that each person in society gets a share of economy's collective production, goods, and wealth, based on how much they have contributed to generating it. Workers are paid their share of production after a percentage has been deducted to help pay for social programs that serve the common good. Production under socialism is meant to directly satisfy economic demands and human needs, rather than indirect satisfaction of needs through market making profits and capital accumulation. So the essential goal of socialism is to increase equality among members of society. So in contrast to capitalist system, the main concern of socialism is the elimination of rich and poor socioeconomic classes by ensuring an equal distribution of wealth among the people. To accomplish this, the socialist government controls the labor market, sometimes to the extent of being the primary employer. This allows the government to ensure full employment even during economic downturns. So on historical perspective, the concept of capitalism and socialism originated in Europe in the 19th century. Prior to their advent, the economic landscape of Europe was shaped largely by feudalism, mercantilism. So feudalism is I will discuss this in our next vlogs. So I will not discuss this anymore. I will not discuss this for now. So the rise of socialism origins trace back to the 18th century, particularly the works of philosophers like Robert Owens and Charles Fourier. But socialism did not become prominent political and economic movement until the mid 19th century, as a reaction to the social problems created by industrial capitalism. And at that time, and growing inequality between a small group of wealthy business owners and the masses of poor workers. So socialist parties began forming by the end of 19th century in Europe and then even in the United States, advocating public ownership and industry. But still, this socialism is secular, means they don't care about your religion. But here, in 1948, Karl Marx and his collaborator Friedrich Engels published a Communist Manifesto which outlined a critique of capitalism based on the concept of class struggle. Marx believed capitalism was inherently exploitative and alienating. He argued that workers were denied the full value of their labor while owners reap profits, creating unequal social relations between the bourgeois owners and the proletariat workers. So Marx predicted the internal tensions and contradictions of capitalism would heighten class conflict and ultimately lead to revolutions by the oppressed workers. So the manifesto concludes by declaring the proletariat have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. Working men of all countries unite. The rally cry bolstered the burgeoning socialist movement. So socialist and Marxist ideas spread among the working classes through labor unions. That's why we have now labor unions, even in capitalist. Workers' cooperatives, political parties, and activist organizations. Major early victories include winning the right to form unions, instituting child labor laws, establishing the 8-hour work per day. So we are giving recognition that because of that communism mentality, we have now 8-hour work per day, or in other countries, per hour rate. And other progressive reforms outside Europe, socialist and even communist revolutions occurred in the places like Russia, China, and Cuba, where peasants and rural populations suffered extreme inequality and poverty. So I'll go to pros and cons of socialism. Redistribute the pros or the basic advantages of socialism: redistribution of income, redistribution of wealth, closing the gap between the poor and the rich. Take note, this is from the communist socialism. Improve means in social stability, assurance of supply with important goods for daily life, assurance of access to medical facilities, free healthcare, all free because communist. Money is used where it is mostly urgently needed. So most area they don't have that place is moneyless, no money. People may regain trust into the government because of so much help, so much welfare to the people. They have trust to the government. So firms do not need to be profit maximizing anymore. There is a welfare state. So take care of your food, clothing, shelter. So welfare. Security regarding the supply of energy. Minimum basic income, if there is. Promotion of minimum wages. So they are the one make this proposal of minimum wage. And disadvantage or the cons, history has shown that socialist regimes often failed. That's why Soviet Union crashed out. Higher taxes for people who earn high salaries. People may lose the incentives to work hard because there's no competition. Free market forces usually work better than centralized planned economies. Okay? Because individuals have their own freedom to do the best thing for their business. But for socialism, no competition. People may get lazy, of course. I'm equal to this guy. Why should I work hard? Too much power for politicians. So those who are in the centralized government, they are powerful. Nightmare for companies. So if companies want to go there, they are afraid. Firms may relocate to other countries with different political regimes. So there are some businesses, it's better to transfer to another country because in socialist, a lot of jealousy, envy of the workers. Investors may refrain from investing in socialist countries, as I've said. Currency problems because there's no proper supply and demand balance. Sovereign default may not be suitable in the long term. So varieties of socialism, I have said it goes to communism. It's also part of socialism. Sometimes lumped in socialism, communism is a classless society with communal ownership and no private property. So I've said there's no yet country with a classless. There's a different class, and there's no totally no private ownership. Nowadays they have still ownership of their house. Democratic socialism. The socialist principle achieved through democratic political processes. Many industries are nationalized or cooperatively run. There's also market socialism. Worker-owned cooperatives and publicly owned industry compete in a market economies. Pragmatic socialism. Socially owned sectors of the economy coexist with private enterprise and markets. Focus on achieving socialist goals gradually through reform. So I've said there's no full there's no pure communism. So we have here we can say the practicing practicing socialism, aspiring for communist ideology. We have here the Cuba, North Korea, the People's Republic of China, Vietnam, the USSR before, Soviet Union, Venezuela, Bolivia, Sweden. Okay. And as I've said, the key thinkers of socialism is we can give credit to Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky, Paul Sweezy, Eric Olin Wright. So they are the one philosophers, or we can say political leaders. Vladimir Lenin political leaders as revolutionize the concept of communism through socialism. That's all for time. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one.